reverse, game breaks, no hits, you know it up, put on more speed. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, slides, through the game, tap, this win it. First year game, here for the first minute. Carry everybody, keep it there 6 minutes.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. All right, they said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
You know, I think a lot like this will really, light a fire under anybody. I know me personally, like, this feeling and the way this feels, like, I'm not going to take this lightly. And I think everybody else on the offense will fall in line on that. So hopefully moving forward there won't be, laboring days or nights. Not that it will be perfect, but we're going to work for it.
The culture that hype and everyone has created in this building, it's been phenomenal on teams, and we're only going to continue to be better. And the standard around here, I've said it before, I'll say it again, standards to be the damn best. And we're never stopping.
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only kidding. All right.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air tonight. Hold on. We fell in love. You remember how could I ever forget? You remember hold on. We fell in love. You remember how could I ever forget? Coming in the air tonight.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Coach Jay.
He's Coach Rice.
I'm Dauber. What's happening?
I didn't even think about it. I was
We needed the laugh, Coach Rice. We needed the laugh. So we'll take it.
Well, I couldn't hear nothing. My sound wasn't working.
What a great start, right? Almost as good as Tennessee's start to the second half.
Yeah.
Man, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get your opinions. Sure. We're going to give our opinions. It's going to be group therapy. Help us out. Smash the thumbs up. Share out the link. Let people know we're live. I know it's a whole lot more fun coming in here doing a post-game show after a victory. But we still got a lot to play for, man. I've already seen people in the chat saying our season is over. I'm calling the X Factor out. I don't know if X Factor's in the chat or not, but I'm putting him on blast right now. He turned the game off. You turned the game off halfway through the fourth quarter? Like, lose my number, bro. Like, what are you doing? Tennessee has a lot to play for. You got a lot to play for. Like, the goal was yeah, you start with the national championship, right? And then it's win the SEC. Win the East, win the SEC. You still have a lot to play for. Like, we said this team was going to take a step back this year. But all of a sudden, everybody's acting like, oh, if you don't roll the table and go undefeated, the season's over. Guys, We still have a lot to play for. Do I need to take you back to Jeremy Pruitt and what this football team used to be? We went down there to Tuscaloosa in a hostile environment. I'm not going to bury the lead. We were playing against more than just Alabama tonight. We still have a lot to play for. We're going to get into it. Let's see who's in the chat. I'll see what you guys are talking about. Let's see here. Dalton's here, says refs made a solid $20K from Bama tonight. Big Orange Junkie in the house. All the big-time possibilities are over. Man, I know it's going to be doom and gloom, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. We don't expect to just compete with Alabama. We expect to beat them. Craig J is here, says y'all casuals get on my nerves. Coach J's talking trash in the chat.
It's going to be fire. It's going to be fiery today.
Davey Boy is here. Sammy P says Boogie Atlanta is gone. I didn't say they were going to Atlanta, man, so I don't know what that's about, but whatever. That's the way the night's going to be. Maybe I should ignore the chat and just talk some Tennessee football. I see the super chats coming in. We're going to get to all of those, but let's start with opening opinions. Coach Jay, overall thoughts on the game, and then we're going to kind of go through it step by step.
Okay, yeah, I'll only give one. I mean, there's a couple turds I could give out, like Florida, but I'll just call the whole second half a turd and cut right to it, and then we can talk about some of the problematic things of this game. But just my overarching opinions. I mean, right off the bat, and I've said it a million times in the chat, the touchback, any. I'm going to say this once really clear. The rule is any fair catch call within the 25-yard line is a touchback by rule. It doesn't matter what the refs' feelings are for Alabama. It doesn't matter who they want to win, which was obviously Bama, but it's the rule. It's just the rule. It's the flat-out rule, and they ignored it. I don't know why. It makes no sense to me. But they ignored it. I would have flipped out. I would have borderline walked my team off the field at that point. Because if you're going to make up rules, then why play, right? I hate to be that guy, and gosh, it despises me to call, to put something on the refs. And that
facts are facts, Coach.
Yeah, facts
are
are facts. It's not so much
there's no gray room in it.
It's just true.
It's black and white.
Yeah, it's just black and white. So that is what it is, right? Man, it looked like for a second that Joe was going to have that game, right? The receivers catching the ball a little bit better. Still, though, even in the second half when he was playing well, if he doesn't sail a ball or two, it might have been 28, to nothing. And I've always said there's a separation, and I'm sure Coach Rice knows, there's a separation between scheme and there's a separation between game management. I think our scheme's been fine. I thought our game management has been bad the last 2 weeks. So they are two separate things. Like I said, I won't sit here and rant on forever. Joe's not the guy. That's just kind of my opinion, and we can dive into it. I don't want to kind of take away everyone's time on their initial thoughts and get into everything. But with that said, Coach Rice, maybe what was your overall opinion of the game?
Well, first thought is I agree with what you said, but Joe didn't cost us this one. I thought if we were going to lose, I thought I was going to have my shot to come on in here and, ran all on Joe the whole time again. But that wasn't the case. Joe I thought he played a very serviceable, winnable game. And where early especially, but he was still serviceable through the whole game. He didn't make. He may have held on to that ball on the fumble too long, but
Campbell got toasted on that.
Yeah, Campbell. He just he that was a bad play, but two other quick things. It's Brew not being there tonight majorly. The left side of the field was complete, other than the one touchdown to Squirrel White. You notice Brew not being there, and then secondly, you just noticed on the third and fourth down calls, they're super predictable, and that's the only thing I have against Coach Heupel's offense. I love the tempo. I love the no huddle. he's got to change something up on 3rd and 4th down and short. I guarantee you, we're getting stopped 90% of the time this year when they're in the gun and they're handing the
Line
ball
up
off
under
to
center. Take
yeah.
a snap under center.
Do a tush push. They've done it once this year. Do it again. You can do it again. I just don't understand the 4th and 1 calls, and the 3rd and 1 I'm fine with if you're trying to mix them up because you still got 4th and 1 there. If you're 4th and 1, line up under the center and do the tush push, get the first down, move on. That's all I got.
Man, night and day difference first half, second half. From the top down, from the coaching, the play calling, to the execution. Defense was they were flexing that first half. They shut Alabama down. What they end up with. I was at the softball field watching the game on my phone, watching my daughter play. So I didn't take notes, but I think Alabama had something like 20-some yards, total yards offense first half.
No,
you got
they had
that
way
book?
more than that. They had
maybe rushing.
133. They had 133 total yards, 16 rushing yards, 2
16
turnovers.
rushing yards. Okay, yeah. So the defense was.
I'll do your work for you. Don't worry.
Well, hey, listen, it's hard to multitask at a softball field. Defense played well. Played really good first half, and then Joe came out and played good. Played well. At one point was 9 of 9 until Dante Thornton dropped the ball 10th pass right in his hands. Then we get you got the difference in penalties and the officiating. We'll get into that later. Man, that's not what cost the game. To me, it was you fell off in the second half. And like I said, from the top down, you weren't as sharp and crisp. The play calling to me looked different in the second half. They weren't, firing off. They didn't have that swag that they were playing with some confidence early and coming out in the second half. Bama takes the kick down, scores, cuts it to a 1-score game, and then it's just like, the air came out the balloon, and it was like, they just kind of muddled along. But man, it's just really disappointing after the way this game started, and with how we all kind of thought it would go. You're sitting there like shocked and surprised. Okay, we're in it, and then you kind of come out flat in the second half, and it really just downhill from there.
There's so much to talk about, and we're going to get into every bit of it tonight. And I'm not one to come on here and ever want to blame the officiating. And me and Coach Jay can agree tonight. He can say Joe played bad, or he can whatever Coach wants to say. I told you guys that I'm going to grade Joe on a week-by-week basis. And this week I agree with Coach Rice. Joe Milton did not cost Tennessee this football game. But something I hate to do, I hate to come on here and point at officiating. But sweet Lord above, Alabama was one of the most penalized teams in the country. You know how many penalties they had tonight? 1 penalty for 5 yards. They were holding all night long. The defensive holding they called on Tennessee, I want to sit down the SEC officiating crew, and I want to watch that play, and then I want to watch the entire game against Texas A&M a week ago. And I want to say, you tell me how this is holding when we're playing Alabama, but when Texas A&M is doing this, it's perfectly clear. If there's not consistency in the sport, then we don't have a sport. We don't have a game. I watched this entire game so pissed off, so emotional, so frustrated because of officiating and because of commentary and freaking bias towards Alabama. And I used to come on here and make fun of JP because he was always talking about Bama bias, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of a bit, right? We can poke JP and get him fired up. It's a real thing. And when Gary Danielson's on there, going back to Coach Jay talking about the fair catch, saying, if you watch right here, we can see where they signal for fair catch. Okay, Gary, I'm watching. And it didn't happen. So now you're watching the replay and you're going, excuse me, sir, what happened? Why is the ball on the 3, Gary? You can't explain it. And I saw somebody in the chat saying, oh, well, if the other returner signals for a fair catch. Guess what? By rule, this is a fair catch, not this. Not putting your hands down at your waist. That is not signaling a fair catch. So please explain it to me why you put the ball on the 3-yard line. And it is a tale of two halves. And there's God bless America. I'm so pissed off. There's a lot to talk about tonight with this Tennessee football team. They shot themselves in the foot. Josh Heupel made mistakes. Joe Milton made mistakes. Like Coach said, you had an opportunity to put the game away early, and you didn't. But when we talk about a tale of two halves, and you look at the start of this second half, the officials took away 2 of your first 3 drives in the third quarter. They took them right away from you because the first one on the kick return, why is the ball on the 3? Nobody can tell me that. Although Gary came back, I don't know, 17 minutes later trying to defend it once his replay team found something he could go by. And then you come out and you get a phantom hold call on Jacob Warren, and now you're looking at 1st and 20? Like, why does the play calling suck, Boogie? I don't know. Maybe because it's 1st and 20 on a BS phantom holding call? Give me consistency in college football or you're going to bury the sport. Rant over. Let's get some super chats because I know you guys have opinions. We're going to break this thing down step by step. If you're an Alabama fan in the chat and you can't see the BS that was – and look, Tennessee shot themselves in the foot. Alabama was gifted that third quarter. And you know it. I know it. Everybody watching knows it. Gary Danielson knows it.
Georgia fans knows it.
Everybody knows
Georgia
it.
fans
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. You cannot watch that game and tell me. 1 penalty for 5 yards. You kidding me? One of the most penalized teams in the country. Lil Spooky was here bright and early. I think he thought he was on the Tailgate Show. Dropped a $5 super chat. Said, watching the game with a Bama fan from church. Pray for me. Didn't work out, Lil Spooky. Sorry, brother. Nate for 5 between refs, play calling, and idiots calling the game. Tennessee should never should a chance. Piss poor play calling set up Joe to fail. Receivers took an L. Captain Woodland for 2. Something has to be done about the refs. Insane. It just happens week after week after week. Nate Pruitt, 1 sec, and you check down the throw. Get out, Joe. That did bother me at the end. Like, what are you doing, Joe? Are you padding stats? We got a football game to win, and you're checking down. It reminded me of Harrison Bailey when he got up in mop-up duty, and he's checking down with the game on the line. Sam Hyatt becomes a member of the channel. Shout out, Sam. You guys wanted to be a part of it. Hit the join button down below. We would appreciate it. Real Hank for 2, 8 and 5. See y'all next year. 30 minutes is all this team had. 8 and 5? Or we play like, man, everybody just how quick people quit, how quick people give up. VFL Willie for 5. F the refs. First of all, second Milton played okay in a ready field. Nico, the D stood up. Dylan Elam for 5. Can't beat 2 teams in one game. By the way, a fair catch called on a kickoff comes out to the 25, regardless of where you field it. That's what Coach Shea said.
Who calls it? Read the full Section 8. I know someone made a comment that because the other guy did it, but go back, read the full Section 8. It's clear in black and white, and that's where you'll find it in the NCAA current rule book is right under Section 8 if y'all want to take a peek at the rule book.
And let me tell you something. If they made the right call, Gary Danielson would have explained it to you. Instead, he sat there with his tongue tied and didn't know what to say because he looked like an idiot on air multiple times tonight. By the way, I love the replay on the deep pass at the start of the third quarter for a touchdown and how they talked about the route running and this, that, and the other, but you didn't call the holding that was taking place on Tyler Barron. You showed the play 14 times, but you didn't see the holding. That's convenient.
You know what also was great real quick was how they didn't show Burton kicking our defenders at all, but then they showed the late punch by Herring 27 times.
Yep. When Burton did that, I'm like, okay, he smacks women and he kicks players, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Elijah Herring. Rolly season for 5. Joe played good. I don't care what anyone says. I think our running backs are still in the dorm on campus, GBO. Noah Cockrell for 5. It's time to pull Joe. Glimpses of greatness aren't good enough to win games that we want to win. We pay Nico millions to sit on the bench. No more Joe. Austin Stubblefield for 5. I don't blame Milton. That was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in my life. Even worse than the Ole Miss game. That was BS. I'm pissed. Austin Stubblefield becomes a member of the channel. Shout out to you, Austin. Appreciate that support, brother. Kevin Smith drops a 20 spot. That's an Orange Boy. Win or lose, we're going to play the clip because we're Tennessee fans.
Rocky Top! You'll always be.
Played their butts off, I'm guessing. Bama made adjustments. We didn't. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a second. Benjamin Lewis for 2. Was the fair catch ruling blatantly wrong? I think so. Coach thinks so. Coach Rice, Dauber, you guys, I think we're all in agreement. There was nothing.
I mean, read the rule book. Read the rule book.
Yeah.
It's literally word by word in the rule book.
Yeah.
It don't matter who calls it.
And listen to let me just clear it up for everyone here, and you guys can stop me if I'm speaking wrong for anyone else that's sitting here in this room. But to the person saying, we're blaming the refs, no, we lost that game, period. But it doesn't mean that you can't call a spade at the same time. There was wrong calls being made in that game, and there was a blatant made-up rule called. So that is what it is. It's
Let me
not really
ask you
about
this.
assigning blame.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to jump right back into Super Chats. Tennessee's in the top 5 in the country in sacks.
Mm-hmm.
James Pierce dominating, Tyler Barron dominating, Omar Norman Lotz played great football, had the full cast of characters back, one of the best defensive lines in the country. Alabama, one of the worst offensive lines in the country, giving up more sacks than anybody else in the country. Right out down there at rock bottom. They didn't hold one time the entire night. They didn't have to hold one time the entire night. You're telling me that they played the game of all games. They've given up sacks against everybody. They played West Middle Tennessee School for the Blind, and they gave up 6 sacks. But you're telling me against Tennessee, not one holding call against one of the best defensive lines in the country? Tell me more about this great officiated game.
They were blatant.
Lose my number, man. Like your comments irrelevant. I don't. You can say whatever you want to say. I'm with Coach. We didn't just lose because of officiating, but if you don't think it played a factor, you're an idiot. You, sir, ma'am, are an idiot. Joe Redden for 10, what is the solution to these ref issues? Josh Heupel doesn't know what to do. I don't like complaining about refs, but we are playing with one hand tied behind our back. Me too, Joe. I say it all the time. I don't want to come on here and talk about refs. And you guys have been around me long enough to know. You've been a part of this channel long enough to know that if I come on, I'm like Coach Ross. I thought we are going to lose this game. Guess what? Boogie's going ham on Joe Milton. Not tonight, boys. Joe does not deserve the blame for this loss. I just don't see it. J Hud for 10. I've never witnessed a team play perfect football, only committing one penalty that kept them from getting sacked. Amazing effort. What's black and what? Black and white and red all over everyone against UT today. Matt Watson for 2. We missed Haddon after that injury. We did. Nico Slaughter made a nice play on the tip drill for the pick. Donovan for 2. The Vols will see Alabama in Atlanta. Dude, that's a tall task. You got to win out and somehow hope that Georgia loses to somebody. Who is Georgia going to lose to? Red Win for 2, Heupel's fault. We can talk about Heupel and his play calling. I got issues with that too. Tennessee boy for 5, Joe is a loser. Big Orange Mountain for 5, Joe played great. Y'all shut up. O-line got whipped. Are you talking to me after I just said that I'm not blaming Joe? Hype made some bad decisions. Winning on the road versus the Bama refs is hard in the SEC. That's just embarrassing that we have to even say that. Shannon DeCannon drops a 50 spot. We'll play the clip for that one too.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Appreciate that, Shannon. Very generous. Says 50 for the haters and the refs. Choke on an avocado seed. Go Big Orange. Guys, there's a ton of super chats. Bear with me. We're going to jam through them, then we're going to get back into this game. Appreciate your patience. Want to get all of your thoughts with the super chats coming in. Epic Eric for 5. This isn't because of Milton. The first half showed that. This is because of the OC. Chris for 2. These refs are horrible. The amount of holdings bad. Philip Scow for 10. Guys, let Bama. Let's give Bama some credit. Only a Nick Saban team can go from averaging only 100 yards in penalties per game to 5 to not. Crazy how that happens. Like, wow, what a coincidence. Shout out, Philip. I see what you're doing there. Austin for 5. I just don't understand why the offensive play calling completely changed in the second half. Seemed like we stopped doing what was working for us. Rhythm Badge for 2. How do you throw that game away? Double A with a 20 spot. That's an Orange Boy. You know what we do. We'll play the freaking clip if I can find it.
Rocky Top!
Double A says, go Big Orange. We still have a lot to play for, and I'm proud to be a Tennessee Vol. Let's go. You do still have a lot to play for. You do. I agree with you, Double A. Jay-Z, Yazzie, $10. What are y'all talking about if we can win the rest of our SEC games, including Georgia? We have the tiebreaker over them. Go to the SEC championship. There is no tiebreaker. Tennessee has 2 SEC losses. So Georgia, you got to beat Georgia. Georgia's got to lose twice. Florida's got to lose games. So long way to go to get to Atlanta. Rocky Top Tom for 10. This was classic Vols tied game. 2 halves, 4 teams. A squad of refs that couldn't fight their way out of I won't say that. Y'all know my feelings on Nico Joe, but this game was not Joe Milton's fault. Dayon Cuberson for 5. Refs are going to be refs, but going shotgun on 4th and 1 finally caught up to us. Donovan for 2. Why is it so hard to get under center on 4th down? There's a theme going on here, boys. Neil for 5. Joe played a good game. It's not on Joe, but the play calling was god-awful by Coach Hype. I'm disappointed in him tonight. Mitchell for 2, 1998. Thanks, Georgia fan. I'll take your money all day, every day, you clown. J. Neal for 2. Penalties, bad play calling. We gave it away. MG Way for 20. That's an Orange Boy. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top!
MG Way says, this is the game that makes me a battered Vol. We simply didn't want to win it. Ron the Don for 10. We can't beat the players, fans, and the refs as well, but we played up to our level, but Bama played spotless, right? Of course they did. Harold for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Philip Scout for 5. Refs should have to do a press conference, and every official should have to take questions. Never going to happen. J. Nail been a member for a month. This was the worst officiated game I've ever seen. Seth Brooks for 5. We fell apart in the second half. Horrible play calling. Refs absolutely screwed us. On top of that, I hate Bama. Christian for 2 says, pop off Boogie. I already did. Guess what? I'll probably do it again. Parker for 10. They didn't like me in the box seats. Shout out Parker. I'm glad you're still alive. Says the refs were part of this loss, guys, along with Heupel not being able to have any balls because Joe Milton took them. Losing Mincy didn't help. Mitchell Parks for 5. Despite how terrifying these robotic creatures were, people purchased 1.8 million Furbies in 1998. What in the world is wrong with you? Good Lord have mercy. Brady becomes a member. Appreciate that, brother. Michael Allen for 20. That's an orange boy. We'll do it.
Rocky Top!
Michael says, end of the day, Joe's judgment or lack thereof is an issue. Here's the deal. Boogie. Man, coming at me hard. We now have 2 losses. We have a trap game in Kentucky and in Missouri, and Vanderbilt plays us like we slapped their mom on Sunday morning. Pie Man for 10. Article 2A, Article 2, a valid hand signal is a signal given by a player of Team B who has signaled by extending one hand clearly above his head, waving that hand from side to side of his body more than once. That's when I about ripped my headphones off to say that. Tom for 5. Even when Joe plays pretty well, he had a large percentage of our offense. Coach Shea and so many will still blame him. Ooh, coming at you now, Coach. They're coming at you now. Christian for 10 as a Bama fan. The hold on Malachi in the end zone wasn't called, and their fair catch was a terrible call. Still think second half game plan resulted in an L. Vols are a really good team. Christian, shout out to you for saying that. It bothers me. I don't like coming on here talking about officiating. I wish we could be talking about what, the game plan kind of gets taken out of it when you get taken out of what you're trying to do because they spot the ball on the 3-yard line. Let's stop there. Still got a bunch of super chats. Still going to get all of your opinions. Don't you worry. I want to get what you guys think is going on. Dauber, let's talk about play calling. Everybody seems to be griping and complaining about play calling and what Josh Heupel, the decisions that he made. What were your thoughts on play calling tonight?
I think there was a clear difference in the first half to the second half. Like I said, opening the show, we came out the first half, got up early, and we had that confidence, that swagger. Joe was it was a lot of those quick bubble screens and stuff to the side, which Coach Rice, threw out. We missed that blocking on the edge. Our boy out there that did he travel with the team or is he still like recouping from surgery?
I doubt he traveled.
Anyway, that good point right there. Good observation. That blocking is a key thing if you're going to try to pop one of those little quick hitters on the edge there. And we were rolling the first half. Joe got him going early. Got him going that run where he trucked the DB. I mean, that type of attitude and that confidence they played with in the first half, I think carried over to the score. Yeah, we left points on the board. Red zone scoring, settling for 3. Ultimately, after the fumble and scoop and score, that stretched it out a little bit further. But we should have been up 28-0. We left points on the board. We had opportunities and could not finish. And that's been something that has plagued this team to this point all season long. The other thing is, last year we gambled a lot. Gambled a lot on 4th and short, but we were successful. We're not seeing that success this year, and the play calling is head scratchers. 4th and 1, 4th and inches, and you're lining up 6 yards deep in shotgun. I just don't get it. You have confidence in your offensive line. Have confidence in Cooper Mays, who we finally got back, and I think those guys they're doing well. The run game was kind of not as effective as we've seen this year, but I think
good enough.
It was good enough, yeah. But back to the original question after all that kind of bird walking, to me it seemed first half, second half, you just didn't have that confidence. You didn't have that kind of go get it attitude, and we momentum when Alabama took that kick to open the second half down and scored, cut it to 1 score. I think that really it changed the whole atmosphere, changed the play calling, and I think honestly you saw a little bit of lack of confidence in the quarterback position with the play calling.
Well, let's carry over with that, Coach Jay, because Dauber brought up a key point. He said momentum led to play calling, right? So, first half, everything looks great, although I have no confidence because battered ball syndrome is real. And I talked about the officiating, right? Going into the third quarter, like right out of the gate, Alabama goes down and scores, and they kind of get some of that momentum back. You miss a holding call there. And that's crucial, man. That's a touchdown. You miss a holding call. And then what happens on the very next play? The very next play, the kickoff, and you spot it on the freaking 3-yard line. What are you supposed to do? Just go shotgun and throw it. Hey Joe, let's run play action. Let's throw one deep and see what happens. You have to get conservative there, right? So that goes nowhere. And then you follow that up. Alabama goes down and scores again. This is where you have to give them credit because they did go down the field and they scored right there.
Yep.
Very next drive is when Heupel goes for it on 4th and 1. And include this when you talk about play calling. The 4th and 1 play calling is garbage. It is hot
Awful.
garbage. Why are you going out of shotgun? Dauber says it, as Coach Rice says all the time. Do the tush push. Joe ran physical tonight, and I liked it, and it opened up the offense, but you're scared to run a quarterback sneak. Coach A, unpack all that and talk about play calling.
So for me, and I think it's, my coaching tree and where I come from, right? Because that's kind of what you become a product of, right? But if I'm not within the 40, I will never, ever, 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 ever support not punting the ball on 4th and inches, 4th and 1, 4th and nothing. I came from
especially
coach,
when your defense is playing so good too.
I talked about during the breakdown series. I was coached when I played ball before my coaching tree by a coach who didn't lose a game from his freshman year of high school until he got out of college, and then he went to a school named Concord de La Salle, and they had a streak where they won 13 years in a row without losing a game. It's a very famous streak by Concord de La Salle out in Northern California, a school that just plays barely anyone from California. They just play the best school in whatever state that they happen to be playing that week, right? And their whole thing is line up and play football always at every moment of the game. Just don't cheat the game, right? You can't cheat the game. You got to be straight with the game, right? And so don't cheat it. And when you try to do crap like that, no matter if it's a tush push or whatever, you're trying to cheat the game and you're going to get rolled up for it. And we did, right? So that's my opinion on that. You got to get conservative. And look, these coaches, the game changed. There's a Vol fan, James Richards, Georgia fan, James Richards in the chat, I think is his name. He's pointed out several times that, the momentum changed in this game on those 4th and 1 plays, on that last 4th and 1 play. The momentum changed, and we were never able to seize it back. And everyone knows football is a momentum game. And when we lost that momentum, the refs had something to do with it. Bama had something to do with it. But the momentum was wearing the Bama jersey at that point, right? And when we're up against it like that, and the coaches are, put in a position where they have to trust Joe when it's a gnarly position to be in, they don't trust him in that position, guys. And trust is earned, especially in football. And they don't trust him in those situations, so they weren't going to play aggressive because they felt like if they played aggressive, we would have lost worse than 14 points. And that's just the truth of it. Sometimes there's hard truths in this game. So, man, I wish I could paint a prettier picture than that, but that's how I feel about it anyway.
Coach Ross, what are your thoughts? Play calling, 4th down, just the whole thing. And you can talk about adjustments too. I don't know.
The 4th and 1, and a lot of it goes back to what Coach Jay said. about trusting Joe, but at the same time,
Yeah.
that last 4th and 1 that we had, Joe keeps that ball. I don't know if y'all saw the replay. If Joe keeps, I don't know if there was a recall on, but if Joe keeps that ball, he's running for at least 10, 15 yards because the end crashed. The linebacker was shifting towards the inside, so the outside was open. If he just keeps it, but I mean, it still doesn't make any sense. I'm a little different from what Coach J.
That's good. Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm an
I love
offensive
it. Yeah.
coach. I'm an offensive coach, so I want my offensive
It's a beautiful thing.
So, but I will agree. I wouldn't do it on unless it's like 4th and inches. I wouldn't do it on the other side of the 50. I mean, it has to be 50 or more, and unless it's it's a chain link. And I'm smart enough to do a tush push. I mean,
I would have liked it better. I would have liked it better.
It's getting to the point where, dude, I love Coach Heupel, and I love him coaching this team. I have full trust in it. But I want to see the press conference. Someone better ask him and put him on the spot. Why do we not do that? You did it once this year, so you don't have the excuse we don't go under center. Last year we were under center multiple times, not like Princeton Fant and the offset eye.
Well, they did it earlier this year. They did the quarterback sneak, and they brought the defensive lineman in. It was a beautiful. Your quarterback is a monster, and he was running physical. Sorry to cut you off, Coach, but that's what frustrates me so much.
Yeah, and then the play action. I know there's options that the receivers have. I mean, because a lot of offensive now they have option routes off what they see in the zone, or if they're playing man. Dude, there's a couple times where Squirrel White is running wide open, y'all, and I don't know if you saw it. It's a switch route, and Joe just misses it. That's why they don't trust him that's why we see the play calling we see, y'all. That's the exact reason why we see the play calling we see. Did I think Joe cost us this game? No, I didn't. But there's also reasons why we blame the play calling. That's why we blame the play calling, because they don't trust Joe. They don't. He has to make multiple reads in some of these plays, and he's got to see what the defense is doing, and he can't read that. And if he does, he's indecisive, and he makes the throw late. That's the reason why, guys. I know the play, but Josh Heupel's playbook has not changed. I promise y'all.
It's the execution of it.
It's the execution of it and the trust in what they can call. That's the whole key to the whole thing. I thought the defense played pretty good. I know we had that 4 straight, little spell there. The 2 penalties, extended drives, penalties that didn't happen.
Yep.
And dude, if y'all let me talk about the refs, we'll spend here all night. So I'm gonna get you on. I know you had a point you were supposed to make, Boogie, but if you get me going on the refs, I will probably throw this iPad through a wall. So I'm not going to even go there.
And Alabama cans is probably a better way to describe them. Alabama fans can say, "Oh, you're crying." Well, let's look at the numbers. First downs: Tennessee 22, Alabama 20. Total yards: Tennessee 404, Alabama 358. Turnovers. Tennessee won the turnover battle, forced 2 turnovers. Hey, guess what? You had a scoop and score. You got a free 7 off of Tennessee's turnover. Penalties. That's the one place you beat Tennessee today. The one place you beat Tennessee is penalties. But hey, it was called right down the middle. No problems at all. I want to come back to something because Coach Rice kind of hit on it. Coach Jay kind of hit on it, talking about red zone opportunities. Joe Milton, I don't think Joe cost us the game. Coach Rice said the same thing. I don't think he cost us the game.
But he didn't execute.
He didn't win the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
did he put the game away when he could? And there's a couple of specific moments I want to get into, but there's a lot of super chats. This is what we try to do, man. You guys are very generous. Try to balance our conversation with what you guys think in the chat, and we'll keep this thing rolling all night long if we have to. Privacy for 5. I knew the game was over when Alabama grabbed a crazy horse collar that everyone and their brother saw, and it wasn't called. Shocking, right? It's shocking. William Dyer for 5. What did they say in the locker room at halftime? Looked like they blew their load and weren't even trying. I'm devastated by the second half, guys. I saw somebody saying I would love to see. It was Jesse Simonton, Gator Dog, former VolQuest guy. Unfollowed him over this one. I would love to see Nick Saban's halftime speech. Well, did he give it to the refs or did he give it to his players?
Yeah,
That's what I want to know.
real.
Seth's been a member for 15 months. Still 9-3, folks. We choked top to bottom. A lot of missed calls. Take a breath after the fire goes out. Like what I saw of Joe until crunch time at the end, trying to play too safe. I've got problems with Joe in the first freaking quarter. Hype was playing not to lose the second half. Can you blame? I'm putting Seth on blast here. Can you blame Coach Hype and saying he played not to lose, but then he's going for it on fourth down? You can't sing both of those songs. You can't say he's playing not to lose and then criticize him for going on fourth down. So I disagree with that. Real Hank for 2. Yes, 8-5 if this team plays one half of football. I think this team's still going 9-3. I said it at the beginning of the year. I said it at the middle of the year, and I'm saying it right now. Brady gifted a Talkin VAWLS membership. I appreciate that, Brady. Thank you for that. Seth Brooks for 5. Also, the defensive holding when Milroe threw it out of bounds on third. That was weak. How are they going to call that? That's the exact call that I'm talking about that the SEC officials need to sit down and look at. This lost in the head coach random
is on the head coach.
Yeah, but it's retro. He's a Georgia fan, so I'm going to read it the way he says it. I think he said, this loss is in the head. See, random fourth down attempts. Thank you, Retro, for that. I love Retro. Ron Barton for 10. I'd take 3 losses before Georgia if it meant not being the CBS game of the week. I hate Gary. Good Lord. Man, that and the officiating made it so hard to watch. Rod drops it. Orange Boy. We'll do it.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Rod says, why can't we make the SEC look at the replay of this game and hold them responsible for this over and over bad officiating? Do they want us in the SEC? I'm sure big ACC would love us. SEC has to do better. I just don't think it's ever going to change, man. It's the same old song and dance, but when you sucked and you were getting ran out of the stadium, like you were just like, whatever, I don't care. But when you have a team that can compete and could have won the game today, it's freaking beyond frustrating.
Because it shifts the momentum of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole start of the third quarter. It was momentum.
There were points in the game where there were calls that were questionable that completely shifted the momentum in the game.
Scotty for $20. That's an Orange Boy.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Says Justine's got to hit those 2 passes in the end zone to put this away early. We're coming back to that. Don't worry. Milton played well overall, but officiating has killed us all year. Refs were bad, and they held all game. Holding all night, it was the difference. I'm going to die on that hill. J. Hud, been a member for 11 months. Appreciate that. Bama content last year earned my membership. GBO. Shout out J. Hud. Appreciate that, brother. Ralph Keith for 50. That's a 50 spot. That's a pink boy. We'll play this clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man.
Appreciate that, Ralph. That $50 ain't cheap, man. That's very generous. Says Boogie, you guys called everything I saw. I knew the outcome when the bias began second half. Shut up, Gary. Anyway, this season will end great for us. BFL GBO. Real quick, I don't need a 12-minute segment. What are your predictions the rest of the way? I'm still 9-3. Coach Jay, what?
9-3 at the season start. I said 9-3. I still think 9-3. I think I had our 3 losses being Bama, Georgia, and then the third being a toss-up game. So I'm happy to call that toss-up game Florida, and it's pretty much right as I thought at the beginning of the game, or not the beginning of the game, the beginning of the year. Sorry,
Coach Ross.
9-3. I just think Kentucky and Missouri ain't gonna be able to stop us.
I'm sitting right there too, as long as we don't come out with a hangover next week in Lexington. If you come out, cobwebs, sulking, heads down, that's going to be a tough game. Kentucky's going to come out because they've got that little brother syndrome, and I had us dropping. I think the ceiling I said is 10-2, and I think realistically I was looking at 9-3, and I'm kind of sticking to that. I think that's about where we'll be. I hated that we dropped Florida because that put us chasing. I had that as a win and the toss up. I actually had toss up was Kentucky, South Carolina. Had us dropping to Bama and Georgia.
Me and Coach Jay did a segment at the end of the Friday morning stream. Tennessee is favored by the ESPN FBI in every game other than Georgia, and they actually favor Tennessee more in that Georgia game than they did the Bama game. And I know the ESPN's not everything, but it's worth noting. They have Tennessee favored 70% odds of winning that game against Kentucky. I just don't think Kentucky's very good. I think it's the same song and dance every year. Oh, they're great. Mark Stoops is great. They got this, they got that, and then
my only concern is we're on the road. What you look at the body of work, that's what we talk about all the time. Body of work. You've gone on the road twice this year. You've lost twice.
I don't think the road lost us this game. I think the refs and us shooting ourselves in the foot lost us this game.
But at the end of the day,
to the last drive, we didn't have any offensive proceed false starts putting us behind the chains.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. We played, especially in the second half, poorly. The noise wasn't costing
the team that played tonight. If that team showed up in Gainesville, that's a win.
Oh,
they roll them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gainesville made an impact, right? Gainesville made an impact on the game. I didn't feel like Tuscaloosa did. But, again, body of work, right? You got to go back to what? Pitt, LSU, last year? Yeah. And that's a different team. That's a different team, too. Let me continue to hit some super chats here. You guys being very generous. We want to get your opinions, and we're going to continue to talk about it all. Paul Lindsay, been a member for 11 months. Appreciate that. Backwoods for 2 years. It's one thing to get beat but not get screwed like Skid Row hooker with all the holding and the fair catch. Makes me glad I wasn't at the game. I would need Bell money. Wayne for 10. What's up, Wayne? Refs were horrible, especially on the kickoff fair catch. Lack mental toughness and discipline to compete 60 minutes as a team. GBO. Retro drops another 2. Can't keep making the D. Defend short fields. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to Heupel and going for it on fourth down. Like Coach Jay said, your defense is playing good. Just punt it away and play football. Big Orange Mountain for 5. Nope, Boogie talking to the chat. Your Joe analysis all season has been spot on. Guy played like a man. He deserves respect from the fan base. The bottom line is Joe's inconsistent. So that's why I told you guys at the beginning of the year, I'm going to grade him week by week. Coach Jay has me on the word turd. If he plays like a turd, I'm going to tell you he's a turd. If I think he plays good enough to win, I'm going to tell you that. Like, Joe is so inconsistent that
he's consistently inconsistent.
I can't sit here and grade him as an overall project. I'm going to grade him week by week. Let's see. Brady drops $2. We played to not lose, not to win. We played to not lose, not to win. I don't even know that I agree with that, man.
That's a
You're
Butch
going
Jones-ism.
for it on fourth down.
Yeah, I was about to say Butch Jones-isms.
I can play that
bleeding
clip. J Hud for 5. If they call delay a game and mark off penalty from 25 on the fair catch, I'd think about accepting it. Can't make up rules. Certainly felt like they did tonight. Brian Allison been a member for 20 months. Guys, sorry to say this, but piss poor officiating. Common theme. Paul Lindsay for 2. Well, let me try $2 since 20 won't work. Oh, Paul, that breaks my heart. But I do appreciate the donation, brother. Benjamin Lewis for 5. Milton can't process reads quickly enough, which influences play calling. He did what was asked of him today, but still think Nico makes us better. Possibly. Neil K for 10. Joe played a good game. This game was not on Joe at all. The play calling was disappointing from Coach Hype. It's crazy. I hate that the refs played a part in it too. Ridiculous, undying voice for 5. Nothing to say. Just a tip in the tip jar. We appreciate that. Knoxville Buckeye for $20. That's an Orange Boy. Let me scroll up here and find the clip. Some people hate the clip. I like the clip. You drop an Orange Boy, I want to play the clip, so we'll play the clip. Here's the clip.
Rocky Top!
Knoxville Buckeye says, go big orange. So many things to talk about with this game. 9-3 with a small chance at 10-2. Ditto's on the bad officiating. Strange adjustments. The only thing Gary said that was right was Joe needs to run the ball more, and he did tonight. And we can come back to that and talk about it too. Crystal for 5. I wonder if we are going to see the refs at Saban's Mercedes dealership in Nashville in the next few days. Just saying. Dirty Dodge for 2. Love you, Boogie. Always make my night better. I'm glad I'm cheering somebody up because I'm going to be depressed all night long. Mitchell Parks for 5. American Airlines was the first airline to offer electronic ticketing in all 44 countries. It served in 1998. I love taking Georgia fans' money and shoving it right in my pocket. Nothing makes me happier. Yeah. Like, if it makes you happy to give me $5, it makes me happy. Seth for $20, obvious. Coach has lost us the game. Don't understand the conservative second half. Not going to let it ruin my week. Guys, it's transition year after all. Glass half full. It could be a hell of a lot worse. On to the next. Oh, by the way, that's orange.
Rocky Top!
Working to something here. Bear with me. Timothy for 2. Miraculous turnaround for Bama. 1 penalty. Wow. Yep. Imagine how you cleaned all that up. Scotty for 10. I'd rather play aggressive than not. I don't blame Heupel, but honestly, refs took the air out of every drive in the third. That was one of my key points, man. Can't blame our team. I wish I could. It's great to be a Tennessee Vol. Flying Fortress for 10. In the first half, we saw Joe be the guy we all know he can be. In the second half, the play calling was not playing to Joe's strengths, but Joe's effort, despite the calls, was reassuring. GBO, the ambassador for 20. That's orange. We'll do it.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Tale of two halves. Gentlemen felt like they unlocked something special in the first half as far as running Joe. Second half had a lot of head shake moments. Still think we can build on this and take a shot at Georgia. Go Big Orange. William Dyer for 5. How god-awful was the defense in the second half? I mean, dude, they went soft and Milroe had all day, and they ran all over us, right? I mean, when you're getting held every play, like, I don't know. The Lazy Llamas for 20. That's orange. Let's do it.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Man, I'm trying to work towards one. I may just skip ahead to it. Lazy Llamas, what's up, brother? Appreciate the support. This is not a Joe bashing message. Well, that would be new around here. That's all we do is bash Joe Milton. He says he played pretty well tonight. Love how aggressively he played. He did. But the biggest difference to me from last year is red zone efficiency. What do you think is the main reason for this? That was my next talking point. Still a bunch of super chats. I want to go and get them. Let's see. No. Let me hit this super chat real quick, and we're going to hit the Lazy Llamas comments because that's where I wanted to go next. But freaking Craig drops a hundo. That's $100 super chat, man. That is very generous. I'll play some clips for you, buddy.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man.
And, I mean,
Love
I
it.
feel like I should
Love
play
the
this
clip.
one, too.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
I mean, that's a hundo. Let's just play them all. Still a bunch of super chats. We're going to come. We're going to hit every single one of them. Appreciate you guys. Craig says, I hate the loss. I hate that my bets didn't hit, but I'm not that upset with Milton or the receivers. I think we just got beat. It was the best play I've seen from UT this year. Your thoughts? I thought you go, Coach. You go, Coach, because I'm talking so slow.
Go ahead, Coach Rice. You were going to talk. Go.
I agree in some parts. I think the defense has played better, specifically last week. I thought they played more aggressive and had more thump last week. But offensively, I agree. I think that was the best as far as against the competition we've played. I think that is the best we've looked. I thought that was the best game Joe's had all year. I will say that. I mean, considering what he's done this year, not Orange Bowl Joe, but this year, I think that's the best game he's played.
Let me be a jerk real quick, and then we'll get back to business. Gary Heath, I see your comment. I guess you're not going to talk about the game. Just read the chat. If someone paid you $100, would you shun them to the side and ignore them and not value their opinion? Or would you value their opinion and welcome that and include that as part of the show? We'll stay live all night long if we have to, Gary. If you're butthurt by that, if you're pissed off because I'm valuing our customers, our fans, guys that want their voice heard, guys that want to drop super chats, then piss off and go find something else to do, Gary. Like, what would you do? Do you want me to? Okay, let me not read any more super chats, and I'll just read what Gary has to say. How about we do that? Would that make you happy? Look, man, I'm doing the best I can. I want to let you guys have a voice, and then we're going to have a conversation. Like, I only address it because it gets said so many times. Why do you read super chats? Well, should I ignore them? Like, should I ignore a man that wants to pay us $100? That's $100 is very generous. $5 is generous. $2 is generous. Doing the best I can, Gary. If it's not good enough, find somewhere else to go watch a post-game show, brother. Doing the best I can. Hope you guys understand what I'm trying to balance here, man. What I'm trying to balance. Sorry, Coach Ross, I cut you off. Coach Jay, I think you were about to say something.
No.
I completely derailed the whole show.
You're welcome. I was like, well, I'm lost now. Where am I going? I was very confused. Hey, listen. The great thing about this channel is the community, right? Right. We all love this community. It's special. And it's why we want to read the super chats. We get a lot of great talking points from the super chats. We get a ton of great talking points from the super chats. And I've said it before on this channel. I've yet to see another channel that does what is done on this channel. So I love it. It's why I'll say that I'd always rather be a Tennessee fan and part of this community on a losing day than a part of any fan base on a winning day. So We'll take that.
Here's a $10 super chat from Ron. Says another one for you to read for Gary. There you go, Gary. That's
there you
just
go.
for
Now,
you, brother.
yeah,
That's what makes this community great.
Well, let me say
ultimate
this,
troll,
man,
right?
and I say it all the time. I don't expect anybody to donate anything. I don't expect anybody to be a member of this channel. All I ask you to do is smash the thumbs up because it's quick, free, and easy. It takes you no time and effort. You want to talk? You want to bounce back and forth? Come hang out on Tuesday night when there's 60 people in the chat, and I read everybody's comment all night long. We hang out for like 5 hours. It's a great time. You want your comments read, Gary? Come be a part of that.
Listen, there was when I last looked, there was like 1,200 people on here, Gary. It's hard to do what Boogie's doing.
It is,
and have everybody included. So I mean, just deal with it or find somewhere else.
Yeah, let's circle back around.
Back to
I had my moment, Dauber. I have them. About every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Poor Dustin. Poor Dustin was here in the South Carolina game when I just start yelling at people, and he's like, "Wow, I've never seen Boogie so angry."
What
that happens.
Yeah, go ahead, Dauber.
I was gonna say I'll kind of circle us back to kind of where we were talking about red zone efficiency compared to last year. I tell you, a big difference is you're missing one Princeton fan. How big was that? You're talking about a guy that lined up in the backfield, a guy that lined up at quarterback, a guy that lined up at tight end and caught passes in the end zone. I mean, very versatile, very, he was integral to this offense. You get inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. We had 2 first and goals tonight that amounted in 6 points. 6 total points. So
and
it's one of those things, we're and I'm like Boogie. I don't want to get on here and say, oh, it was the refs. That's a weak excuse. At the end of the day, I don't want to, we can't use that as a crutch to say that's why we lost this game. There were plays that took the momentum out of our hands, but we had opportunities early to put this game out of reach, and we couldn't execute.
There's a difference between saying what the refs did and then putting the loss on what the refs did. Like last year when the Bama fans put their loss on that no PI call, you know what I mean, in the end zone, or that late play in the end zone. That's crying about the refs. That's putting it on the refs to say, oh, they cost us the game. Were the refs a factor? Yeah, sure. Refs are always a factor in a game, but ultimately the kids decide the game.
But they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be the factor.
That's
not what the fans pay to come and watch us, those guys in stripes. None of us are there to watch them.
God, let's get back. Let's get off the. We were having a great. We were until I derailed it. Now we're talking about the refs again. Let's come back to the red zone because Coach Jay said right out of the gate that Joe, and he's ready. I know Coach is ready to bench Joe, and I was too last week. I fluctuate, but he had an opportunity to put the game away. Red zone struggles. Second drive of the game. You go 15 plays, 79 yards, 5 minutes 30 seconds. Joe. This is the play calling inside the red zone. But Joe, speed option, he keeps it for 1. You do the fake toss, and you have Castles in the seam. Let me bring officiating up again because he got held. And then you have the throw to Sampson, incomplete. Third drive of the game, it was right after the James Pierce sack fumble. You got to go score. You got to go take advantage, get points off of turnovers. You have an incomplete pass to Webb. Milton runs for a yard. They ran, and Coach Rice brought up decision-making. They ran small on a little wheel route. And if he had thrown it early, it's a touchdown. I think he's probably going to have some contact at the goal line for a touchdown. Instead, he holds it. Late throw to Warren, it's high. If you throw to small early, possible touchdown. If you throw accurate to Warren, it's a touchdown. You didn't do that last drive, right there at the end. It's incomplete to Caleb Webb. Then you have the false start on Dane Davis. You throw a pass to Caleb Webb for 10 yards. Incomplete to Squirrel White. Another false start. But to Coach Rice's point, that was late in the game. I'm rambling, but they struggle in the red zone.
I have to make one comment really quick because I don't want it to get missed over, and I saw it in my notes. The catch by Squirrel White in the end zone.
Speaking of squirrels, that's what we're doing is chasing squirrels. Dauber's talking officiating. I'm talking red zone, and now Coach is taking us back to a touchdown catch.
I'm sorry, what a catch. I just didn't want to lose it and forget about it because that catch was something dang
You left something
special.
out, though, Coach. What a throw.
It was a bad throw.
What a throw.
Yeah, what a throw.
That throw was on the money.
Was it, though, when you got to make a catch like that? I mean, maybe that's the D coordinator.
I mean, he was pretty
much
covered.
I'll leave that up to y'all.
I mean,
he was pretty covered.
He put it to where only Squirrel could get it.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I'd also like to tag along with that. How about that catch by Keaton? I mean, it's finally we see him go make that catch where he jumped over. Yeah. Yep. I mean that was great, and I think that's big for him going on the rest of the season because he's had after that last week he's had just everything up here going on in his head, but him making that catch I think is momentum for him the rest of the season. But talking about the red zone, and you're right, that game should have been 28-0, and that is on Joe. And that didn't lose us the game, but it took us away from probably winning the game. I know there's a slight difference there, but the reason why I think this year we're struggling so much in the red zone is because, and I've said it, I've already said it once tonight. They don't trust Joe to throw into tight spaces. Like, yes, he's got a rocket arm, but the field is so compacted down there in the red zone that he has to make quick, accurate throws and read the play the right way because it's so tight. The zones are so you very rarely see man-to-man defense down there in the red zone. You see a lot of zone, keep the eyes on the quarterback, and you see they're making Joe not make tons of decisions. I trust the run game, but it's so hard to run down there. That's the reason why you see some of these very successful teams. If you can run in the red zone and score running the ball, that's the successful teams. But they trusted Hendon Hooker to throw in the red zone last year. They don't trust Joe Milton to throw in the red zone. Yeah, because of his accuracy and late time decisions. That's the key one. Being late.
The late's the problem.
Yeah,
I agree with you. The late's the problem, especially on there's been multiple times this season where they run that close to the end zone. They run that play action pass to the flat to either the tight end or the slot, and when that player, I'm sure Coach Rice, when that player starts to turn, that ball's got to be out, right? You're throwing to where he's gonna be in the flat, not. Him continuing through the flat, and Joe's throwing to him continuing through the flat, not as he makes his break. And when it's late, I feel like he puts that extra heat on it, and that's what sails his passes at times. It's like a symptom of being late with the football.
Yeah, he's trying to make up for the slow decision making with his arm strength.
Right. Correct.
And I saw something last year. I mean, not last year. This week is on some type of show or article that's why Hendon Hooker was so effective. I know we're going back to. I'm talking about Hendon Hooker, and he's not here, but that's why he was so effective because of his quick decision making. Like Coach Jay said, we had Jabari Small on that flat turned into a wheel. If he makes that throw quick, and Jabari was looking at him, it's not like he was, still finishing his route and Jabari was. Look, Jabari was anticipating the throw. I think he was the one. He thought he was the main target in the play call, but he misses the early read. He still has the read to Jacob Warren. He went to the right spot after he missed the first read. You got to make that throw, dude. You got to make that throw. It's 20, I think that was the second time. It's 24-0 at that point. 24-0. It's a whole different game than what it was at 13-0.
Yeah, it's over. I think it's over at that point. If you capitalize in the red zone early and you score touchdowns instead of field goals, it's over.
Yeah.
And I say all the time, I love the A to Z Sports halftime show. I love listening to Crompton on there.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing. He's like, if you score, you don't beat Alabama by kicking field goals. And that's what was so frustrating, man. Is like, somebody texted me in the middle of the game, and all I sent back was, I hope the conversation after the game is not missed opportunities. I hope that's not what we're talking about post game. And here we are, and we're talking about missed opportunities. Let me catch up on Super Chats just for Gary. Gary, if you're listening, is that Gary Danielson in the chat? Is that who that was? It has to be. Has to be. He's still pissed off about Squirrel White making that catch. Raven Gaming for 10, go Big Orange. Our defense played hard, but play calling got too conservative second half. Next year will be special. Brain's been a member for 6 months. Play calling has been bad in all SEC games. It's possible to pull the refs into a meeting, or are they protected by a union? Everything gets reported every week, so I don't know how it just continues to be a disaster. CM Jam for 5. We're about to get drummed at Missouri and Kentucky if we can't put halves together.
I think we beat them both personally.
How do you guys all of a sudden put Kentucky and Missouri on the same platform as Alabama? Like, I don't understand. I understand being upset about tonight, but I don't understand that mindset. Cody for 10. Second half, we came out flat. Refs killed us back-to-back plays. Barron's head was in a headlock. Bingo. And then the kickoff play was horrible. Head ref is a realtor in Tuscaloosa, by the way, 100%, probably on Saban's payroll. Realistic for 7. This team is still ahead of schedule. This is Heupel's third year. I had them losing 4 games this season. By the way, Kentucky, Missouri, Georgia, I think they lose at least 1. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's Georgia. I think they lose to Georgia. I think they win the rest. If they don't, look, we'll get on here and we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. RS drops an Orange Boy. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top! You'll always be.
Says, on to the next. Joe played well, and honestly, it would have took Jesus playing at quarterback for us to win that game in Alabama. And can we please stop talking about Nico as if he is the savior? We don't know who he is yet. Has anybody said that name? Well, Coach.
Yeah, I do. And you know, I said in the chat earlier.
Are you poking the bear in the chat?
I'll be accepting a big apology from you doubters very shortly on Nico, because he's going to make you eat every word. I promise. Every word.
Hey, I've been here and done that.
And the punctuations.
Been here, done that. Nobody's coming back to apologize to you, Coach. Nobody.
I know.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Coach. If you're wrong, all 23,000 will be right back here letting you know that you're wrong. That's what happens.
And I'm here for it. Bring it.
It's not going to happen. It's not. Y'all, I can just see it. And he ain't even played a snap. I can see it on the sideline how much this kid is, like, he's just into the game. It's not like some of these bench quarterbacks had that dude is. I'm so ready for next year. He won't play. He won't play. He won't start a game for us this year unless
he may play homecoming. He may play homecoming.
Well, I'm saying, but he won't start.
No,
unless Joe gets hurt. Unless he gets hurt, we just gonna have to deal with it. Joe's our QB the rest of this year. But just go on about dude, Nico. I'm telling y'all, Coach Jay, you got me on the bandwagon. But I mean, I'm just, dude. I went and watched some of his high school film this week. Oh my gosh, dude! I'm just so ready for him to be our dude.
He's a killer.
Isn't it weird how people, like, it's so weird. It's so divisive. Like, everybody loved him some Harrison Bailey. All of a sudden, Nico comes along. It's like, well, y'all shut up about Nico. Let me keep jamming some super chats. Vanilla Vic for 5. SEC needs Georgia versus Alabama for ratings. We will get screwed in the Georgia game as well. That would not surprise me at all. Andrew's been a member for 11 months. Appreciate that. Big Orange Mountain for 5. With the amount of money that exchanges hands in the SEC, we deserve NFL quality officiating. Nothing's ever going to change.
They're bad too.
Yeah, they are. They really are. Redneck Dwarf for 20. That's orange.
Rocky Top! You'll always be.
Play to win. That means full speed for 4 freaking quarters. Not to lose half the game. I don't think that, like, I respect what you guys think in the chat. You think they played not to. I do not feel like this football team played not to lose tonight. That's just my opinion. We can agree to disagree. Dustin's in the house. Drops a 20 spot.
Rocky Top! You'll always be.
Says Miss Holding call on second series on Castle should have been a touchdown. Yep, we hit that. Needed to score all touchdowns in the first half when we had the chance. Thought Bama made more significant changes at the half. But proud of this team. Joe played well. Appreciate that, Dustin. Andrew fielding for 5. Joe said in postgame the team has to play at a higher level. Can we talk about how the receivers are making the wrong reads on their smart routes? The thing is, Andrew, that's hard to talk about because we don't know what their options are. We don't know what the play calling is. It's kind of like a read option. People are saying, well, Joe should have kept that. Well, should he? Or was it just a straight dive play? We have no idea. So that makes it difficult for us to come on here and talk about it. Shannon DeCannon drops another 5. I wish I could share a Twitter post I sent. I was sent. It's our defender, Elijah Herring, being hooked around the neck on that big touchdown pass by Bama. I think it was Tyler Barron. I think it was Barron that you're talking about there. Also, Daryl Gregory for 5. Did you see Gary call 3 other ball players squirrel white when it clearly wasn't him? He also said Jamal Harris. Terrible.
They were so bad. They were so bad. It was bad.
He said Haddon wasn't in the game after his injury, and he came back.
Yeah.
He was in for 2 more series.
All right.
I mean,
so let me get everyone mad at me for a second because
let's do it.
I'm a jerk.
Everybody's saying do it. I still got 28 super chats to read.
Sorry.
Does it make sense now? Does it make sense now?
It was to do with Haddon, but
we're rolling. Hey, we'll be
on
here all night.
To do with Haddon.
All night long, Boogie.
Says the guy who didn't drop the super chat. Go ahead, since we're on topic.
Let me just be perfectly clear before I say it. I hate when anyone gets injured. If Milroe would have been injured, I would have not been here for it. I hated to see the Bama lineman get injured. I want everyone to be safe always. Haddon, you played so much better in pass coverage. I picked on you for your tackling. Your piss poor tackling is what got you hurt. Ass down, head up, wrap up, pat on the ball, and we're not talking about your shoulder injury. I'm sorry, but you learned the hard way.
Yep, you're right.
Fix it.
You're right.
I don't know if that pissed anybody off other than me.
I don't know.
Sorry. Andrew drops $2, says Chipmunk Black, Gary Danielson. Andrew in for $20. That's orange. We'll do it.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Andrew says, just a thank you to everyone for the group therapy session. Hearing everyone say the same things I saw makes me feel better, that those terrible calls weren't just in my head. These post-game shows make it sting a little less. I never come on here and blame officiating when it's not officiating. I hated opening the show talking about officiating, but I'm going to call a spade, just like Joe. If Joe plays like crap, I'm going to say Joe played like crap. If the defense plays like crap, I'm always going to give my true opinion and just let people hate on me for it. I don't care. I'm used to it by now. Happens on a daily basis. So I'm glad you were enjoying it. Nate Pruitt, been a member for 13 months. Just saw the post game with Coach Heupel. They asked him about one-sided issues with the refs. He was pissed and wouldn't respond. Then he said, was that a good enough silence there? Won't happen, but Nico. Samuel Reiner, custom nice for 2. Don't have the talent yet. Getting there. B Moore becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, B Moore. You guys can join the party. Hit the join button down below. We would appreciate that. Hot Rod for 2. Also got screwed on spotting the ball all night. Angry Titan for 5. Our wide receivers bailed Joe out many times. Squirrel bailed him out several times himself. Overthrows and throwing behind again. Pro Nico. He also got a drop from Ramel Keaton. He also got a drop inside the 5 from Dante Thornton.
I thought that was a touchdown if he catches the ball.
Yeah, it's still across the board. It's not just Joe. Ball fan in AF for 20. That's orange.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Says, I wish we could get Home Sweet Home to me in the orange clip. I don't know if he said it, and then again, if you play too much, who knows what happens. But thank you for that super chat, very generous. Undying Voice throws $1 in the tip jar. We appreciate that. Tennessee Tater for 5. I'll take that loss because Vols looked way better than Bama. Stupid, weird calls by refs don't truly count as a way to win, in my opinion. Scotty drops 10. Joe played like a game manager tonight. His game of the year. That's sad in and of itself. But need the quarterback to take us to the next level. Look forward to being more part of this channel going forward. Love y'all, Boogie, go Vols. Thank you, Scotty. It was fun having you on the tailgate show, brother. Jesus Christ Home Slice. Great name, $5. You don't turn a 27 lead into a 34-20 loss because of the refs. Holding happens in every game, and refs blow calls in every game. They completely turned the momentum between the first half and the third quarter.
Let me say something here. I don't think any one of the 4 of us here tonight have said the refs are the reason we lost this game.
The opposite. Yeah.
We said we shot ourselves in the foot. The calls by the officials changed some momentum, which in turn changed the play calling, which it had an effect on the game, but it was not the reason.
It's up to us to get the momentum back.
Loud and clear, it was not the reason. None of us said that.
Yeah.
People can't get past that. Dauber, you know that by now. You
I
say
know,
one
I know.
thing,
I
and they
know.
formulate the
Quit
full
crying
narrative.
about the refs, Dauber.
Yeah,
Man,
Crybaby.
it's so we're used to it by now. But you still sometimes it's like me. Sometimes you got to yell at a Gary in the chat. Seth drops a $20 super chat. That's an orange boy.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
I make fun of Gary, and then Seth makes fun of Gary. Should have known with a name like Gary. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Full transparency, too. I just deleted an Alabama fan's super chat. Thank you for the $5, though. He got banned after he dropped the super chat. So thank you for the $5, and move on along, brother. Retro, he's a Georgia fan. Who names their kid Gary? See, you guys can come and be fans of other teams and have fun, but if you're going to be an idiot, you're going to get banned. Craig drops another hundo. That's $200 super chats, but according to Gary, I should not acknowledge this. But guess what? I'm going to play all the clips just for Gary.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man.
Hey, Gary, you know what it's all about?
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo!
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Craig dropping another hundo says, you do a great job. My contribution is because I appreciate your contributions to the community that you help build. Please do not read this super chat on air, but I feel free to torch Gary. Oh, I missed that part, Craig. Sorry. I'm sorry, Craig. Craig, I missed that part. Recognition is not the reason for the post. You know, we are trying to build a community, man, and there's so many different layers and aspects to it. Everybody here has already talked about it. Matt was on here last week talking about it, like Coach Rice, Coach Jay, both of these guys. They are here because of the fan call-in show. Like, that's it, man. We are building – I truly feel like we are building a community that is the heartbeat of this Tennessee fan base. And there's different layers. I get it. If you don't want to come to the post-game show, look, people want their voice heard. They want to have their voice heard. That's why they drop super chats. You want to come hang out on a Sunday night? You can join the channel and come be a part of the show. You don't want to do that. You don't want to spend a dime. Come hang out on Tuesday nights when I'm live for 5 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours talking Tennessee football. There are different layers. You just want to watch the videos? You want it all subbed up in 10 minutes? You don't want to listen to the whole postgame show? Guess what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up early. I set an alarm clock. Get up early before church. Come down here and record a day after video and kind of summarize my thoughts on the game. You can watch that. You can soak the full postgame show into 10 minutes. So many different layers to this channel. Everybody likes different aspects of it. I said it. I think I said it on the Friday morning stream with Coach Jay. It was so cool that a buddy of mine texted me. He's like, man, one of my friends came up to me and was talking about Talkin VAWLS, and are you a Tennessee fan, and how much her and her husband love the channel. And she didn't say she liked the videos that I do. She didn't say she liked the post-game shows. She said she liked the fan call-in shows because it felt like her friends sitting around on a deck, drinking a beer, talking about football. That's not me. That's not Dauber. That's not Coach Jay and Coach Rice. That's you guys. That's the community. So thank you, Craig, for the very generous super chat. I appreciate that. We're trying to build something special. Some people get it. Some people don't. Let me hit a couple of more here. Cody drops a $10 super chat. Hate complaining about refs, but those back-to-back calls with Barron being in a headlock on their touchdown and then their kickoff call changed the momentum of the game.
Yep.
Head ref is a realtor in Tuscaloosa, by the way. Is that an old one? No, two people
that's
said
a
that.
new-
Two people said that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Dakota for 5. Why don't they run with Jackson Ross? Because sometimes he is so close to picking up the first down by the time he kicks the ball. I wonder if that's in there. It's a little wrinkled.
It's
If
in
it's
there.
there.
It just ain't done it
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know if it's ever been truly open enough for him to do
He
it.
punted so
There
well.
was
tonight.
one. There was one that, dude, y'all,
He
it's the
coulda.
split of the Reds. He could have made it.
You wonder if he's
And-
scared. He's like, if I run and don't make it,
That one
I'm
was
in
a
the doghouse.
75-yard punt, wasn't it?
Yeah. He
it
punted
may
the
be
crap
in.
out of the ball.
Yeah,
I
it
think- I
was.
think-
Yeah, got that big
I-
bounce. Yeah.
I think
Yep.
it's 75 yards is what it ended up.
Which
Yeah.
makes me that much more upset about not punting the ball when we should have been punting the ball.
Huge.
He
point
don't
right there,
have
Coach
he
Jay.
don't
Yeah.
have he don't have returned on him. He
Well,
does he
no.
holds the ball and
Early
so
in the
it's either
season
they
when he
catch-
kicked with his left foot, there was a bit of an issue.
we did both tonight. He kicked with both
Yeah.
Yeah, he
tonight.
did both tonight.
Samuel Leonard clears it up. It's 71 yards. Okay, sorry. I was
Okay.
off
Still a
4
hell of
yards
a-
there.
Either way, it's a boom.
Okay.
Off 4 yards, so let's go.
Cheers to the Hey, you know what? Win or lose, I still got my koozie rocking here, and I still believe every word on that koozie.
You dang right.
Cheers,
You
Dauber.
dang right.
Cheers, Dauber. Let's see. Let me hit some more super chats. You guys think I'm going to put it on Coach Rice. Coach Rice, you're going to decide where we go next after I get through a few super chats.
I got you, boss.
Kelly Goodwin, been a member for 14 months. Appreciate that, brother. Losing to the Gump stings bad. We still have a pretty solid team. Ron the Don for 5. Maybe with all this, the results today, this will push us for the rest of the year. I hope so. CM Jam 96 becomes a member of the channel. Also, John Landers becomes a member of the channel. Guys, I appreciate it. Say it all the time. Could not do this without the members. Like I get to do Monday morning streams with Kane, or I get to do Friday morning streams with Coach Jay because of you guys that are members, and you guys support the show in the off season when there's not 1,500 people watching. So I'm grateful for every member. Every member. Thank you for that. Neil K. 5. Thornton is killing us with the drop passes. Got scared to take a hit. Donovan drops us $20 super chat. That's orange.
Rocky Top!
Boogie, I'm going to say what I've said. Kelly Bryant was not bad and made playoffs and started next season 2-0, got replaced by Trevor Lawrence. You don't have to be losing to make a change. Thoughts? Do y'all want to talk about that? I just put Coach Rice. I handed him the ball and said, "You're in charge, boss." And then now, should we talk about it?
I agree, but it's not going to happen. Well, we've seen Coach Heupel's too loyal to Joe. It's just not going to happen. I agree, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, real Coach Rice. Is an offensive coordinator? Would you be a little worried about the backlash of putting Nico in if he goes out and destroys? I think somewhere deep down, right? I think, I know we're not supposed to talk about that kind of stuff as coaches, but
if he comes out and if he ever gets the opportunity, say Lord forbid Joe gets hurt, because that's if there's any way that Nico gets in there, I don't want Joe getting hurt because you just don't wish injuries on people. No, so if Nico has the opportunity and gets put in the game, and he goes off, Josh Heupel, I mean, he's gonna be like because he knows he's gonna get questioned and that's not good on the coach because I mean, what have you been holding back on us all year? So I agree.
It's almost like a blessing in disguise that we've not seen Nico in mop-up duty. We saw him a couple of times, but he never really got a fair shake.
He didn't.
He comes in against Connecticut. Listen to the Gaston Moore noise over an orange and white game where he was running with the third string. Nico comes in for homecoming when Boogie's in the house. Where's Boogie? # Where's Boogie? Come find me. See what happens. I may get punched in the face. I don't know. But if Nico comes in and balls out, the noise just gets louder. Dauber, you were about to say something.
I'm going to the UConn game to find you.
Are you? I may actually tell you where I'm at though.
No, I want to go to the UConn game.
I think the only way we see Nico step in, and other than injury, is if you drop next week at Kentucky and you drop next week at Missouri. I think you see Nico coming against Georgia. And I know that's throwing the kid to the wolves, but I think at that point,
Nico at home against Georgia is a way to sell tickets.
It is.
It's Josh Dobbs # Alabama.
At that point, Heupel has no cards left to hold, and it's you're throwing it on the table. If you drop next Saturday at Kentucky, and if you drop November 11th at Missouri.
What else are you playing for at that point? What's the difference between going 8-4, 7-5, other than you're protecting? It's been so weird. It's look, I know Josh Heupel's playing. He's playing to win this year, and I keep talking about it. And I'm like, it's almost playing out picture perfect for him because we're still cruising. I still think this team's 9-3. You guys all agreed. We're still cruising towards 9-3. Guess what? You get to 9-3, and you don't start Nico. Guess who's going to be excited all offseason? Well, first of all, me as a content creator, I'm going to be making content about how it's Nico time, and we're going to go out and win a SEC championship, national championship. This fan base going to be hype. You put Nico in midway through this season, the first half of this season, and he struggles and makes fresh mistakes. The fan base isn't going to be as excited about next year. But if you get to hold that ace up your sleeve and you keep riding with Joe, and it's like, look, Joe held us back last year. Joe was the problem. Now we got the golden child.
Is that how Heupel's going to sell it to the recruits too?
That's how I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, no,
How
I
would
hear
you
ya.
sell it, Coach?
That's
Yeah, I would
Talkin
sell it.
VAWLS.
You would sell it however you could sell it, man. You know, the Hype going to be out there selling a ketchup popsicle to a girl in white gloves if you let them, right? That's how these coaches recruit. It's how I would recruit. So yeah.
But man, we've talked about it the past week. This team, the defense is young. They've got talent. They've got studs. They've still got some playmakers. I know, Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb, they're coming into their own. They're still young. Nathan Laycock, we've not even seen him. That's a dude with talent. Mike Matthews coming in as a 5-star, a dude with talent. This running back room, they got talent coming back. There is a ton of talent coming back next year. So if all you got to tell me is, hey, we got the number 1 player in the country, he's got a year, basically a year and a half in the system at that point. You got a lot to sell for next year. Got a lot to sell.
I'm telling you, it come, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how the offense looks under Nico. I know we've had Joe all season, but how does this offense look under Nico? Do we, I just throw the ball deep more? I mean, because this year we haven't done that much. I mean, yes, we've taken a few shots, but do we hit the accurate deep shots? Is Nico hitting the intermediate passes? Because we haven't seen that all year. Now, we've seen a couple comeback hitch routes, 10-yard, 12-yard hitch routes on the sideline, but there's been nothing over the middle this year. Nothing. Well, I don't think we've completed one 20-yard pass over the middle this year. It just hasn't happened.
Nico, at least from what I've seen of him, I would say his best pass is the deep ball. They had a receiver there who I believe is at Cal now that was at Warren, and they'd pretty much just run him on a seam from that X side coach, and he was pretty much unstoppable. But yeah, he could hit comeback and slant and all that too, right? I mean, you don't get $8 million if you don't got it all on film, right? And all in the game. That's just kind of how it is. So yeah, no, I'm excited about Nico. We'll see if they if they end up playing him this year or if we hold him. Either way, I have the utmost confidence in him whenever Coach Heupel gives his blessing.
This is right on cue. Auto coder for 5. This will be remembered as the Joe year, a placeholder rebuilding year. 24 and 25 will be magic. I truly. It's such a look. You're Josh Heupel. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You're trying to win, but dang, that's what it feels like. It feels like, can we just get through this year and go try to win next year?
What's Bama gonna do next year? Are they gonna be stuck with playing a true freshman all year and saying, right, Julian, all year?
Yeah. I guarantee you that's what happens.
Yeah, it's got to be what happens. I would think.
Unless the transfer portal comes in.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, right? You would think that Saban would want to bring in someone in the transfer portal, right? Because like we all talk about with freshmen, they're still freshmen, A, right? And then B, are they going to pan out, right? Is he a killer? Is he Harrison Bailey or is he Bryce? We'll see. So we'll find out. But Julian, look, he's a good kid. He plays at a good program, a little bit north of me here in south. Well, yeah, I can't tell direction right now in Carlsbad. But a good kid, a smart kid. Everyone I've talked to has kind of been anywhere near him, and I don't have any direct correlation with him. But everything I've heard and seen of him has been nothing but positive, but we'll see how he shakes out.
I wonder what moving into next week in the Kentucky game, because I don't want to because I know that's videos later on, but what's the game plan offensively? Because you rush, we just didn't look as good running the ball up the middle of the night as we had, the previous weeks. Do we go back to depending on the run game like we did with Texas A&M and South Carolina? I know the game kind of, how the game is going depends on that. But I would really like to see Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, and Dylan Sampson get back going next week because they didn't have a good game today.
I mean, we
The
can talk
running
about
game-
the momentum and the play calling and whatever, but you're right, Coach. Jalen Wright averaged 2 yards a carry. He had 11 carries for 22 yards. Jabari Small averaged 3 yards a carry. So they struggled to run the football, no matter what the game plan or the momentum or whatever it was. They still struggled to run the football. What's Kentucky? Let's see, they're only giving up 95 yards a game on the ground.
They struggle through the air. They got some young DBs, very young DBs, but I still don't. I still want to see us run the ball.
But Texas A&M was giving up next to nothing on the ground, and we ran right through them. Tonight, the running game just wasn't effective. You know, you're facing a defensive front line that is stacked with 5 stars. Play calling shifted. Play calling shifted from first half to second half, and I think that is part of it. And then you have the momentum with the refs and all of that. I think this game wasn't set up for the running backs. Alabama was wanting Joe. They were putting it on Joe.
Oh, they dared him. They dared him to beat us.
They dared Joe.
And he didn't.
They wanted Joe to beat them tonight. And the first half he did. Second half, because of a combination of other stuff, Joe didn't make as many plays. You look, the first half numbers for Milton and Milroe, and then the second half numbers for Milton and Milroe. Milroe ended up winning the game. And that's what we talked about Wednesday. Who's going to make those plays? Who's, at the end of the day, who's going to come out on top? And Milroe made more plays tonight than Milton did.
When push came to shove.
Came to shove.
I think a big difference is they started using Milroe in the run game. Like they had just called zone reads for him, and with the lead, tight end lead read. So I think that was a major play in the second half for Alabama as far as changes to what they've done, what they did in the first half to what they did in the second half. I thought that was big for Alabama.
I was waiting on
Still
Coach
sucks.
James. I was waiting on Coach
Yeah, I
James.
didn't know if you were going back to sports.
I'll go back to Super Chats. Bob for 2, everyone needs to watch Hype's post game. Trust me. Hot Rod for 5 says, Coach Jay, did you notice any kind of defensive adjustments in the second half?
Yeah, I did. And we can talk about that really quick maybe. And the adjustment didn't last very long because it got burnt right away. It was the wrong adjustment, and it was the adjustment of the safeties. They switched their safeties into a 2 high to 1 high mixed coverage look. So what I'm talking about is they would have one pop up, kind of like a show and go with linebackers, where one shows blitz and one doesn't. But in the secondary, one's kind of showing against run, either coming up to the line of scrimmage or playing in that intermediate zone. And the first 2 plays, they got burnt by it. We first caught Tank out of position, too close and on the wrong side of the referee, and they busted a big run. Well, after they busted that big run on the very first play of the second half, we rotated it. We did the exact same play, except we switched it on the other side. He was still in that intermediate zone, and he tried to protect against the underneath pass, or the underneath just area of the zone in general, and then he got burnt deep.
He bit on a move
for the ball on 13. So that didn't last very long.
What's his assignment there? Because it was Wesley Walker, a guy that's been very aggressive in the intermediate to short passing game, and it looked like his eyes were on the running back. And we're talking about the touchdown pass, right?
After a big run.
Tyler Barron got held, but let's throw that out the window. Wesley Walker was coming downhill. He was
right,
on the
and that's
running
what
back.
I was saying is they were switching, and they had a good play on for that, because when he came down to help in the run, he did read pass, but then they had that little underneath action that was next to the deep play, and he got caught snoozing on that underneath action, and by the time he reacted, it was already too late. So they tried to get cute I thought they tried to get a little too cute with their safeties. They paid the price for it, and at that point, the momentum shift started to take place and would continue on, as we know, with a breach of the rule book, and then after the breach of the rule book, I thought the other big momentum switch was the not punting it on 4th and 1. Was the big momentum switch, and by that, momentum is heavy, right? It gets heavier and heavier with every momentum push that you get, and the more momentum pushes you get, the more momentum is stacked on top of you, and it eventually crushes you, and that's what happened to Tennessee in the second
And the
half.
thing about the 4th down call, you go out there and convert that, and we're all saying, hey, look how big Josh Apple's balls are, and he converted, and we got the momentum back because things went our way. You know what I mean?
I was screaming, "You're wrong," and then when I realized they weren't going to listen to me because I'm yelling at a TV,
You're like, go get it.
I just stopped and started praying, and then I looked up and I was like,
I'm punting it every time right there. I'm with you. I'm punting it every time. But, Heupel's aggressive, man, and he's going to live and die on being aggressive.
But everybody celebrated that last year when we were converting. We were one of the most efficient 4th down teams last year.
Let me ask you something.
Correct.
With Hendon Hooker, if I'm a defensive coordinator, right, which I am, and I know Joe Milton's out there, I'm selling out on run, whether it's Joe Milton run or running back run. If it's Hendon Hooker, I don't know what the hell you're running.
Yep.
I have no idea what you're running.
4th and 1, and Joe's in the shotgun. It's Jalen Wright's getting the football, and he's running up the middle. That's what's called.
That's what is so mind-boggling about the play calling and lining up, 6 yards deep in the backfield when you need inches to go. If you're going to go for it, at least give yourself a chance.
I like on 4th and inches. I'm quarterback sneak. 4th and 1.
I mean, that's like going. I tell the girls that I coach in softball. You stand up there with the bat on your shoulder. You're not giving yourself a chance. You line up in shotgun. You're not giving yourself a chance. I think it's. You might as well just punt. You might as well punt.
Let me hit some super chats here. DJ for 10. Hello, Gary. Gary's gone. Gary came at me and I broke his soul. He'll never be back, and that's fine. I don't care. I want people that want to be a part of this community. Chris for 5. First time Coach H is clearly mad about the refs in the press conference. He is very clearly mad. I can't wait to watch that. I usually watch the post-game presser on the Monday live stream. So tune in Monday. I do 30 minutes with Eric Kane at 9 o'clock, and then after that, I usually watch the presser, and then I feed off of you guys in the chat, and we kind of go back and forth with that. So that'll be fun to get into. Timothy for 5, we need to use the quarterbacks under center more like the old days. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, shotgun, you were losing 7 yards. And it's so funny because that came through 25 minutes ago, but it fits perfectly to what we just talked about. DJ for another 2. Thornton must be a plant to sabotage us.
Get your tinfoil hats out.
Biggest disappointment. Maybe
He better have an off season like Jalen Hyatt did,
and he can.
He better get to work this off season because I don't want to see him in any more games this year.
It's so frustrating, and I sing his praises more than anybody, but I'm not going to write him off. I'm like you, Coach Rice. I want to see what his offseason looks like because I think I started to say maybe he doesn't grasp the offense, but he can't catch a football. That's a problem too. Kuru Productions for 5. You see that head ref is a realtor in Tuscaloosa, Ken Williamson. Third super chat pointing that out.
Go.
What does that tell you? Matthew Watson for 5. Milton stares down his receivers, holds on to the ball too long, similar to JG. 50-50 split when we did the vote. Who would you rather have in this offense, JG or Joe Milton? 50-50 split.
I don't know if it's so much staring down as indecisive.
He's scared.
Indecisive and slow in the decision making and the progression of the reads.
Ron the Don for 10. Can I bake a chocolate cake for Gary D with X-Lax and take all the TP out of his house? Is that legal? Asking for a friend. I don't know. If it wasn't legal, he would give you a reason why it was legal, even without video proof. Benjamin Cott for 5. Gary Danielson, Squirrel, Keaton, and Brew Thornton Jr. have just taken the field. Dude, it made it worse for me. I was so pissed about the officiating, and then Gary Danielson just ruined my night. Cody's been a member for 31 freaking months. That's a long time. Hope the results of this game are the end of Overthrow. Joe, time to ride the Pine Scrub. Ain't going to happen. Mitchell Parks for 2. More money is great. 1998. Hey, keep feeding me, Mitchell. I appreciate that, brother. You keep throwing money to tell. Imagine being a Georgia fan, watching a Tennessee-Alabama postgame show, giving them money, and thinking you're winning.
That's weird.
It's an amazing
That's
thing.
weird.
I'm here for it. Dan Yoder for 5 started the season with a 10-2 record with a loss to Bama and Georgia. I'm confident we still go 10-2 and beat Georgia in Neyland.
There you go.
I hope you're right.
Would love nothing more. Thomas Maynard for 5. Is it too much to ask to have an elite offense and defense that can play on the same season? I need a beer. Thomas, it's so painful, man. It is so painful, and that's why I'm having a little PBR right now to wash my tears away. Timothy McGee for 20. That's orange. We'll do it.
Rocky Top!
Says, laugh out loud. We need to go under center more. Shotgun isn't working for 3rd and 1 or short yards.
Punt the ball.
This was 11 minutes ago, so you guys are having conversations before we have them. Otis Crow for 5. This was a calculated loss from the start of the season. 9-3 is still solid. This program is maturing. The culture is strong. Go Big Orange. Spot on, Otis.
It's about getting better.
Yes.
It's about improving for us right now and stacking talent. Go ahead, Dauber.
We were ahead of schedule last year. You cannot base expectations off of an overachieving 2022. And transfer portal, NIL, all of that, just the offensive play excelled last year. Defense has caught up, and I think offense has stepped back this season. But we are still ahead of schedule.
In light of everything that happened and how many players we lost, and no matter which side of the fence you fall on for the defense in this second half, and I'm open to both sides of the discussion, I'm not going to fully make my answer until I've seen the full film without the emotion and being able to stop it and start it and break it down. But I will say this. I think if anyone answered that this defense hasn't taken one gigantic step forward, they'd be crazy to tell you that, and they are young. It's not like, they took this big giant step and they're all leaving. They're young and they're going to be around. They're going to, and they're about to get nastier.
If it doesn't get you excited, all these young guys coming in and making big time plays, and here's the thing, and it's what I said Wednesday: consistently making plays, consistently putting pressure on the quarterback, which is what we failed to do last year, I think it's, that comment a minute ago, can we have, an elite offense and an elite defense at the same time? I don't know that I would go that far and say we're an elite defense right now, because we still have those moments. I mean, we're piling up the stats. We still have those moments though, that gap of a couple minutes, or that one, huge chunk play that's a miscue that leads to a touchdown. And I think Coach Jay can speak to that. It is, but that's part of the growing pains because some of these guys are young. It's exciting for the future, but I'm not writing off this year. I am not at all. There's still plenty to play for, plenty to look ahead for. I think you're in every game, and looking ahead to November 18th, that Georgia game's in Knoxville.
Yeah. When were we ever putting it on Bama at halftime?
No,
and I realize we choked it, but there has been huge sweeping change in this program, and if you don't see it, you need to get the eyes checked, because there's just big, huge sweeping program changes. And I get it, guys. I want it all right now. I keep saying it. Let's get greedy and let's stay greedy, but we're getting there. We are. This team is growing. I think I said before the year started, this season, no matter what our record is, will be about, is this team improving or not improving? And there are some trouble spots, but for the most part, I would say, yeah, we're definitely improving.
Oh yeah, the defense. You can see it in the defense.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, yeah.
And the run. I mean, the run game. If we don't remember the run game, yeah, Hendon made some plays with his legs, but the run game is improved from last year. I mean, Jalen Wright is a downright beast. We didn't have that go-to guy last year. Yes, Jabari Small was good. Jalen Wright was, pretty good. But this year, he's over the top level. And I know we didn't have the best game tonight, but the game kind of dictated that. That it's just the way it is. And I'm still calling 25. We're winning the national championship, and 24, we're making the playoffs. It's a 12-team playoff. We're going to make the playoff next year. 25, we're going to win the beat national championship. So
I agree.
I mean, we're on the right path. Josh Heupel's got us on the right path. It's point blank. If you're a fan, you're stubborn enough, you can't see that, go find another team. I mean, point blank, we're on the right path. I mean, I hate it when you got these bandwagon fans that just give up at the least little thing. We're all right, guys. We're all right. We're fit to go spank Kentucky's. Yeah.
There you go.
And then we'll go do it to Missouri, too. And we're going to finish the year 9-3, 10-2. I mean, we may beat Georgia. Who's to say when we're at home?
You never know.
We haven't won 13, we'll be 14 games in a row at home for no freaking reason. That's a game changer. We'll do it.
There's a lot to play for. Lot to play for.
Lot to play for. Don't give up on the season just because we lost to a good Alabama team on the road and we had to fight off the refs. I mean, don't give up on it.
I just hope that's the thing is I hope the home field advantage is there for that Georgia game. I fully expect to go beat Kentucky. Obviously, you got homecoming. I hope, and I know you got a few sour apples in the bunch, but I think most people are pretty happy with where this football team's at right now in year 3 under Josh Heupel. I saw a lot of people in the chat talking about the upperclassmen. Yeah, there are some upperclassmen that are going to be gone, but Jalen McCullough, are you going to miss him? I know he had the pick tonight after the past breakup by Danico Slaughter. Are you going to miss him? Are you going to miss Jalen McCullough? Or are you going to be happy to see some of these young guys develop and start to take over? You talk about corner. You got 3 really good corners that are true freshmen on this football team. We've seen the young linebackers getting run. This defensive line is full of young studs. Offensive, we've already talked about the offense. Nico's the guy. The offensive line is going to be interesting. Do you think they spend money in the portal? Or there's a lot of guys on this offensive line that have a COVID year, like Cooper Mays. Do you throw NIL money and say, hey, we need you. We're gonna go win a national championship. We got Nico coming back, got a ton of studs on defense, but we need you, Cooper. How much is it going to take? I'm curious to see
those guys come back.
Well, I'm curious to see what they do with that NIL money. Do they try to hit guys in the portal, or do they use it on the guys on the roster? I've got to hit some super chats here. Sam Walker joined the channel. Appreciate that, bro. A lot of you guys joining the channel. I appreciate that. You can hit the join button down below, right beside subscribe. There's also a link pinned in the live chat. There's a link in the description. If you give $1, that's it, $1 a month. You guys make it possible for us to create content every single day, so we would appreciate that. Thank you, Sam, for the support. Travis, our Arkansas buddy, is in the house, $5. Listening to you guys talk about your problems is funny. You didn't give up 7 points today and lose. It was so funny. Me and Coach Jay were talking before we went live on the tailgate show, and he's talking about all these top 25 matchups, and I'm like, my miserable ass is sitting here with SEC loyalty watching a horrible Arkansas-Mississippi State game. Like, I ignore everything else going on in the world and watch terrible football while Coach Jay's watching the good games. Timothy for 2, same chat, sent twice. Sorry. Hey, it's all good, brother. You didn't have to drop a super chat to say that. Sam Walker says, I thought I had read that one. I really thought I had read that one, and you guys were like, no, it's brand new. And it was brand new, but he sent it twice. I thought I was losing my mind. Sam for 5, just don't think Milton can keep the team motivated, can see his defeat from the couch. I think he is his own enemy. Love you guys, GBO. Appreciate that, Sam. DJ for 5, what's our O-line going to be like next season? Question marks. So many guys, man. Andres Carrot can come back. Cooper Mays has a COVID year. Javonte Spraggins has a COVID year. Gerald Mincy, I think he has a COVID year. Yeah, he's a redshirt junior anyway. He
Yeah,
can
he's a
come back
redshirt
regardless.
junior.
John Campbell Jr. has a COVID year. Like, can you convince your whole offensive line to come back? It's going to be an interesting offseason for that offensive line. I'll say that. Jonathan Tolick for 5, way off topic. McDauber has upped his man cave game big time. Looking great, pal. Some of us are creating content 7 days a week. Some of us are working on our man case. Man case 7 days a week. I'll let you figure out who is who. Fido for 2. Nobody can tell.
So I gotta ask: did you do your background, Coach Jay, or did Mrs. Coach Jay do that?
Oh yeah, no, I did this. If it was Mrs. J, it would look pretty. I just threw some crap on the wall that I got.
I see you up in your game though.
Yeah. I had to
He hung a flag on the wall, and you're saying he upped his game.
I'm a little.
What are you talking about?
This is my little like film review cave. One of I actually have 3 of them, which I know is kind of sad, but this is one of them. But I was like, man, I just got like a door behind me.
Some of us are trying hard.
Hey, but I got this flag for $3 in Knoxville at a thrift store. So I felt like I did good there.
Well, let me ask you, who
film review rooms too, so don't feel bad. I guess.
Already took that super chat down. Would you rather go to Dauber's office and stare at his stupid Tennessee stuff, or do you want to come play in the arcade? Like, whose office would you rather hang out in? Dauber, like, wow, cool, it looks great, Dauber.
I mean,
let me play some old school NBA Jam.
I can picture
I've got
Dauber
the
like
Legends
smoking a,
Unlimited sitting over here.
Yeah.
With Millipede, Asteroids, Centipede, all of that.
For some reason, I picture Dauber like smoking a pipe in like a silk
That's very
robe,
accurate.
shining his football helmets and making sure they are placed perfectly.
That sounds very accurate. All right, let's get this thing back on track, although I want to completely derail it and say that somebody complained a couple of weeks ago because of the placement of the black helmet. You couldn't see the cleanness of the helmets, and could I please move it? Man, some people.
Mine are by year.
Yours are way better than mine, dude. I do like your the mini helmet game, having all the years. That's good stuff. All right, can we focus? We're 2 hours into this thing. Maybe we should call it a night. Fido says for 2, nobody can tell me different. Joe got to go. Matt Mars for 5, went out and be the biggest Ole Miss fans when they played Georgia. Let's go on to Atlanta and get a rematch with Bama and get some revenge at a neutral site. Man, I just don't see it happening. Scotty Hurley for 5. You told me 2 years ago we'd be where we are. I would laugh 100%.
Yep.
We're on an upward track. Growth is all I want to see, and it's there across the board. The ambassador, Trey, drops a $20 super chat. It's orange.
Rocky Top!
He says, love this community, love the therapy, highest of highs and lowest of lows. So glad this cult and all its members are here for the ride. Man, I love you guys, too. Thank you, Trey, for the super chat, and thank you for all you do for the channel, brother. Jazzy, Jay-Z, I never know how to pronounce names, for 5. I think Dylan Sampson's going to be our star running back next year. Really good at finding the gaps and exploding through them. You're also going to have Jabari Smallback. You're going to have Cam Seldon, another year in the system. Khalifa Keith. You got a lot of guys. The running back room is going to be just fine next year. Tim Harwood for 20. That's orange. Let's do it again.
Rocky Top!
And for 20 says, I still believe we have a chance to go 10-2. We can beat Georgia at home. I hope so, man. Hope you guys are right. Hope we're celebrating on that night. Seth Tunnel for 10. Appreciate all y'all. It's nice to come in here and decompress, win or lose. Think I'll try to hang out on Tuesday night for the first time. Y'all shake it off and have a good week. Go Big Orange. Appreciate that, Seth. Tuesday nights are fun, man. And sometimes it's all about community. Like, we will talk a lot of Tennessee football. You guys will ask questions. I'll answer them. You guys talk to each other. And then we may get derailed. We may start talking about our favorite cheeseburger joint. We may start talking about our favorite movies. Steaks. Yeah. Dude, do you know what? I reverse seared a steak the next night, and I was thinking about all of you idiots while I was doing it. I was like, screw everybody at Talkin VAWLS. I'm cooking my steak right. You never know, but that's the beautiful thing, man. We're building a community. Get to know each other. It's fun. Come hang out, Seth. You'll enjoy it. Charlie for 5. Gary Danielson is going to dream later tonight about being on his knees for Nick Saban. Zachary for 5. Gosh, man. Boogie, why are you reading Super Chats? You're better than that. LOL. Love you guys. Yeah, wow, I'm such an idiot, Zachary. Thank you for the super chat. Timothy for 5. You're telling our age. I remember playing those games with Atari, Centipede, etc. Nothing beats NBA Jam. That's the best cabinet I have. The little wild man that likes to swing from the ceiling fan, there's snot and God knows what on that Ninja Turtles cabinet back there. He's pretty much ruined it, but I'm glad he's having some fun with it. All right. We're almost 2 hours into this thing. Coach Jay, tie a bow on it. Final thoughts. Give me a couple of minutes out the door.
Yeah. Just, hey, man, it's football. Football is life. You get knocked down, you get back up again, right? Like the old ditty goes. So we got knocked down. Congratulations to Alabama on the victory. And we'll move forward. Hey, we tagged you. You tagged us back. We'll come get you next year, and that's the name of life sometimes. This team needs to rebound. Our defense is getting better. I want to see them take another step next week. I want to see the run game return to dominance next week. Still a ton to play for, Tennessee fans. This team has and remains on schedule. So keep your heads held high. The talent gap is pretty much erased. So we'll continue going on that line. And I don't mean Jeremy Pruitt. The talent gap is being erased when you're getting beat by 50. The talent gap is pretty much non-existent. And as you see in the recruiting class currently, they are being stacked. So here we come. Let's just get the right pieces and we'll keep on moving.
UT Will
drops
a 20 spot. That's orange. We'll do it.
Rocky Top!
UT Will says, Coach Jay, can I send you a mini helmet to up your man cave?
DM me on
GBO.
Twitter if you want my address. I saw you asked, but DM me on Twitter. Everyone's like, where do you coach? Where are you playing Friday night?
Set up a PO
What's your
box.
address? And then it's like, just to DM me and I'll talk to you. But,
set up a PO box, bro. Don't give people your
I
address.
have a work address. There
you go. That's better. Don't put your real address out there.
I wouldn't do that.
JP did it like an idiot, and then it popped up in the chat over and over and over. And it's like, love you guys. Love everybody in this chat. Like, I want to come hang out with you. We're going to do more meet and greets. You're not getting my home address. Chase Goins for 5. Just seeing where the lead ref is from Tuscaloosa. How many is that, Coach Rice? Is that 4? I think that's 4.
It's 4.
Appreciate the super chat, Chase. Diver, final thoughts on the game.
Just like Coach Jay said, the season's not lost. You've still got a lot to play for. You can't let tonight define the season. You go into Kentucky sleepwalking with a hangover, moping. You're going to end up coming back to Knoxville with a W. So, what's the snap and clear? I know we're going back to old coach speak and Jeremy Pruitt, Derek Dooley stuff. But yeah,
and you have to not lose the game before you can ever win the game.
100%. Thanks, Bush. That's exactly what I was saying. You have to be ready, engaged, and ready to play come next Saturday in Lexington, because that's going to be a tough game on the road with a team that's hungry and looking to put up their best game and beat you. So, chew on this loss for a little bit, get better this week at practice, clean up some things, because we've seen this team take some strides. Hit that Sunday, Monday film, review some stuff, and make those corrections on errors that they've had. It seems, though, that they're kind of circling back in you have an error in one game and you clean it up, and then it pops back up the next game. So, let's go to Lexington and go 1-0 next week.
Imagine being an Alabama fan in the chat and mentioning the referees. An
Alabama fan at 2 hours in the chat, man, what? That's pretty pathetic life right there.
They love us. They love us. Coach Rice, final thoughts, brother.
Man, I'm already ready for next Saturday, man. Let's go show Kentucky who their daddy is.
That's
and
right.
we're gonna they're one-dimensional. I'm not scared of them one bit. It may be sad, what I'm about to admit. I watch the KSR guys, which is Kentucky Sports Radio, every now and then. And I just love listening to how miserable they get. It's just it's like satisfying to me. It's just I'm so ready to just go and whoop their tail next week. I'm not the least bit concerned that this team ain't going to show up next week. Josh Heupel's teams just have no. I mean, Florida may be the closest call, that and the defense against South Carolina. But I just don't think Josh Heupel will let this team. He's going to tell. They know they still got a lot to play for, and I think we're going to go. We're going to repeat last year and just put them down, show them where they belong, and then we'll go do the same thing to UConn and Missouri, and then we got a real matchup with Georgia. So let's Tennessee fans keep your head up. We all right. I promise. We all right.
Fido drops a $5 super chat. How much of a super chat to hear everyone in sync say ready for Nico? LOL. Just curious. Be right. Coach, they're already ready to do it. Be right becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support, brother. You guys can do that. Hit that join button down below. I will give you my thoughts bright and early tomorrow morning. Gonna sleep on it, get the emotions out of it, and I will probably wake up full of piss and vinegar and complain about the referees again, because that is the only reason Tennessee lost. That's what I mean. If they're gonna say it in the comment section, I might as well say it now. But I'll talk about this thing.
It's true. It's on the internet. It's true.
Yeah. It is true. It is true. I'll talk about this
referee
thing
from Alabama. That's why he can't read Section 8 of the rule book.
He's a realtor. He's a realtor in Alabama. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning, then tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Fan call-in show. You guys get to come on the show and give your opinions. That's always a good time. Monday morning, 9 a.m., live with Eric Kane. Then we'll watch the press conference with Josh Heupel. Tons of content coming your way throughout the week. The season is not over. Don't give up. Don't go away. Don't pull an X Factor and turn the TV off halfway through the fourth quarter. Don't quit on your team. If you're a Tennessee fan, we got a lot to play for. We're going to continue to cover it right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. For Coach Jay, for Coach Rice, for Dauber, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange. Got a super chat that I got to hit. Red Wind for 2 says, Saban, hey, I'll buy that house from you. All right, now we're out the door. Go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.